No, it's me. It really is. Hello. So good to see. So good to see me. Is it not? Welcome to the Inga Barks Show. Happy to be here. And Goose is on the other side. You just don't see him yet for reasons I will not tell you. But he is wearing a collared shirt. I'm very impressed with that. Now that you're being seen all the time, you got to dress up, huh?
Not really.
Oh.
I just, for some reason,
Never mind.
I got I like wearing plain white T-shirts. But sometimes I get.
You mean undershirts?
Undershirts, but yeah. But I'm
not bagging on it, by the way.
But there's just times where it's like, I need to put something over this.
Yeah.
And so.
You know, because I'm a tragic human being, I used to actually iron all of my children's and my husband's undershirts. I even ironed their little onesies when they were babies. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. Welcome to the show. I did come in last week. It's just that when, like, Kelly finishes doing her broadcast, and she had what Jeff Heinley was on, right? And followed by Goose. When they all come out of the studio and they go, "Hey, Inga, I'm like, yeah, I mean, it was like Goose's call was like, "You're going home, lady. Get out of here now." And candidate Jeff Heinley was going, "Do we need an ambulance for you?" I'm fine, folks. I'm fine. I'm just working out life at my age with meds, and the goal is to not be on any of them. That would be the goal. And so I had one that was just out of whack, and I didn't understand what was happening to me. And for the last couple of months, I would say I was on this rotation. Goose could attest to it. I was in this rotation where, like, every few weeks, the same thing happened to me, right? I got hideous, I got pale, I got sick. Well, you can't talk, but he's nodding his head. Trust me, he's in agreement. So anyway, I think I'm on the other side of that, feeling really good today, and happy to be here with you. So we've got a lot to do on today's show. I do want to acknowledge a few things from last week, namely the death of Aretha Franklin. I know a lot of people already have covered it and had their say. I thought, what I thought was sad was, the saying in news is, if it bleeds, it leads, right? And that's absolutely true. If it bleeds, it leads. And if you look at the coverage of different stars, famous people, singers, actors, or just gadflies, you'll find that the coverage of their passing is really much more dependent on how important the news day is to the news editor at the time, or the producer at the time. And so, like, for instance, at the national level, this absolute addiction to Donald Trump and Paul Manafort, something that does infect our life. In fact, I would say, I would dare to say that the death of Aretha Franklin affected my life and your life. I don't even own any of her stuff, but I know how to access it. But her death affected me more than Paul Manafort's trial. But that doesn't matter to the media because they're on this obsessive, self-absorbed thing. So I wanted to acknowledge her passing, and also Al Sharpton's fantastic. Did you see the video of Al Sharpton? I should have put that on my list of videos we should play. Even though a lot of people have already seen it, it's hilarious. Al Sharpton, has had some problems in the past articulating things. And I didn't know he was still on MSNBC. In fact, I don't even know when he's on MSNBC. But he made the same mistake that President Obama made. RESPICT. I mean, if you don't know how to spell respect, like, I don't know how to spell, I don't know the order of I don't know, voice exercises from Sound of Music, but I do remember do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re, do, because I sang it so many times. So if you need to know how to spell respect, just sing the song. Not as well as Aretha, but sing the song. I did hear and see some people talking about how she was the greatest voice, ever, of all time, ever. And I think, it's hard to match that. My commentary on Facebook was that my voice tells me what I'm doing. Like, a lot of times, I think I'm going to hit the note, And I don't. And then there are other people who try to tell their voice what to do, and those are the people who love to do those trilly things. And then there's Aretha Franklin, who it was almost like she had a pre-concert meeting with her own voice, and they were complete, she was totally connected to her throat. The woman's taste was impeccable, not in clothing, by the way. That hat she wore to Obama's inaugural was horrifying, but her singing was perfect. But I was listening to some of her music last week whilst cleaning house, and some of it I hadn't heard her versions of other people's songs. She covered other people's songs. I can tell you right now, if I'd written the greatest hit in the whole wide world and then Aretha Franklin sang my hit, I would never sing it again. It's like why I quit my dream to be a writer, because I read C.S. Lewis, and I said, well, never mind then. If I can't do that, and then it got worse when I read Jane Eyre. So that's Bronte, right? So yes, it's my favorite book. I've read it back to back and started again multiple times. But anyway, so that's kind of how I feel about Aretha Franklin. She was fantastic. But I also think that we don't know what Whitney Houston would have aged to become. Of course, by Whitney Houston, by the time she died at that age, Aretha was already brilliant. And I think Whitney Houston was pretty brilliant too. She was just more poppy. I will not detract from Ray Charles, who I think was incredible, an incredible talent. And you know what? I don't mind saying, even though somebody on Facebook criticized me, I don't mind saying that James Taylor has terrific pitch. And John Denver's kind of fun to listen to sometimes. All right. Mm-hmm. When we were kids, when I was a kid, you young people, if there's any young people out there and your parents grew up in the 70s and 80s like I did, don't even let your parents think that they are cool. Because they're going to talk to you about Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin and The Who and all that. But the truth is, top 40 music at that time was, let's see, Puttin' on the Ritz, right? Hooked on Classics. Do you remember the Hooked on Classics? Hooked on the Beatles? Those are top 40. That's what we listened to during drive time, which is the most popular time to listen to the radio. Those were the songs that were playing. And if you don't know what Hooked on the Classics are, go to it. You'll find out. It's how all of us learned what Beethoven's Fifth sounds like. And so we're not very cool, no matter how much we try to spin it. Granted, I so appreciate John French tipping me off to, who was on right before me, tipping me off to Steve Perry's Return to Music, and I know he did a little segment on that, and I encourage you, if he didn't play it, did he play the interview? Just nod. Mm-hmm. Okay. I encourage you to look up the interview that Steve Perry recently did. I think there's only really one, and it was a radio interview, and he talks about how he just felt like a sponge that had been wrung out. Mm-hmm. And when I was listening to him, I was thinking, what a coward. You're making all this money. You're doing great. Everybody loves you. Why would you stop? And then I thought, wait a minute. Some people that just happens to. I know I'm subject to burnout. 25 years of radio, and you start going, I can't be mad anymore. I'm really tired of being angry. And you know what he did? He went back home to Hanford. He visited his school. He visited old friends. He visited the house where he grew up. I think he said he grabbed his Harley and he went down. I know where he drove. I know exactly where he drove, the Central Valley Highway. He said he drove between the orchards and all that kind of stuff with the wind in his hair and all that. To me, that was really just terrific. If you're a Journey fan or if you're a Steve Perry fan, you can hear it in his voice. He didn't leave over ego. I mean, if he were sitting next to David Lee Roth right now, David Lee Roth would be going, dude, what? Pounding some whiskey or whatever. That's just not what Steve Perry said. It's a great interview. I highly, highly recommend it. All right, let's get to work, shall we? There was a carjacking last night at Stein and Harris. And I'd like to thank my good friend Chad for alerting me on his Facebook page, because otherwise I didn't notice. But he said, this is like a half mile from my house. So I looked it up, and it was like 2 blocks from mine. 4. But it was on my walking, where I walk, when I walk, which right now I don't walk because the weather's horrific. And so apparently these guys, I guess 4 of them or something, or 2, they attempted or did carjack a car, and then they went into the neighborhood, and which is, it's not my neighborhood exactly. It's one of those ones with a name. That. And they went to a house where they were holed up, and the police did a standoff with them for hours and hours. I was completely oblivious to this. But once I started watching it on Channel 23, that always has a camera there, and they'll just let it roll, even if there's nothing happening. And but I loved it when they released the robots. But anyway, apparently they got 3 out of 4 in custody, I do believe, or maybe they got 4 out of 4. But some of them charged, not all of them, and I don't know what with. But it was exciting. And it just goes to show you that when Bakersfield was Mayberry, something like that would have had all the neighbors out. And now I'm watching my Modern Family reruns, going, oh, that's interesting. I'll just catch it on 23. Just monitor it with the volume down. Life has really changed. And I was reading a story today about something that happened in East Bakersfield. It was a violent attack in East Bakersfield. It's escaping me what it was, but I thought, crime is on the rise. And then I thought, well, is crime on the rise? Yes, it is. But is it also that we have so much incoming now? We see so many things. We're told so many truths about what we're seeing. So I don't know. Anyway, there was this carjacking last night, and I just tip to word to the wise. If you're going to go to Southwest Bakersfield and steal a car, Harris and Stein by the taco truck? Really?
I
by the taco truck?
Yeah, I actually found out because of the 23 and 17 both popped up on my Facebook feed with the same story.
Yeah.
And I go, what in the world's going on in Southwest Bakersfield?
Yeah, well, I called Solomon, or Solomon called me immediately because I knew he was going to be coming home from Cal State. I wanted to make sure he chose he just came the right way, but he didn't. He'd gone to his grandparents' house, so he was coming east to west, and he got stuck there at Stein, so he had to go down to Panama, where he got stuck again, and so things weren't pretty in the old hood last night. But gladly, the police, luckily, happily, the police were able to diffuse that situation and take people in. Oh, by the way, for your drinking pleasure today, tip to you: if you are somebody like me who doesn't know that you can't tolerate carbonation, but as soon as you do take carbonation, you realize how much pain you're in. I made this nectarine infused lemonade. Envy me. It's very good. I highly recommend it. Don't come over for it, though. I'm not sharing. All right. So we've got that under our belt. We do have today at the national level, we've got Manafort, Paul Manafort, who the jury has come back with, I think, 8 out of the 18 accusations. They've come back and found him guilty of 8 of them, for which he will serve time or whatever it is that's going to happen to him. And I actually feel bad for him, not because he committed a crime. He committed a crime, and if you commit a crime, then you're going to suffer the consequences of that crime. What makes me sad is the way in which he was really just a tool to try to blackmail him, or should I say extort him into giving something over about President Trump. What I'm saying is, have you ever gone to the police before? Like I had a dear friend who had somebody steal $14,000 from them, but they were in another state, and they took it out of their account and took out a loan. Actually, they took out a loan in their name. And when he found out about it, he went directly to the district attorney, and the DA said, "You're going to have to take that up in Oregon." So he goes up to Oregon and tries to pursue it up there. And you know what they said? $14,000 is really a negligible amount. They just weren't going to pursue. They weren't going to spend time and man hours on $14,000. And so, I look back at who gets away with stuff and who doesn't. I guess it's all about timing and who you know. But Manafort, whatever he did, if he stole millions from other people, then let him suffer the consequences. But, is it, what I want to know, is it a crime that had somebody gone to the, if he were a regular everyday Joe and somebody had gone to the district attorney and said, this is going on, would they have said, or would they have said, we've got to get on this? My sense is they needed to get on it, so that's good. Michael Cohen has a plea deal. I don't know what the details of that deal is. He is, of course, President Trump's former personal attorney for the Trump empire, if you will. And, I think I've shared before, I've interviewed him on a number of occasions. I always found him kind of shifty, but it was like a New York kind of shifty. And you just can't tell with those people. Love you. And so he's made a plea bargain. If I'm Trump, I brazenly pardon all of them. I do. I just brazenly, you know what? You guys were trying to get after me, and you went through my people, and they did things they shouldn't have done. Let's give them what you would give somebody else if they committed those same crimes. I know somebody right now who is adamant that they did not commit the crime they are accused of, and I know of somebody who's adamant that they did not commit the crime that they are accused of. But the district attorney where they live says, "Look, you can take it to trial, but if you challenge us, we're going to give you more of a sentence. We're going to punish you greater than we would if you'll just take our, 18 months that we're offering you." Yeah, but I didn't do it. And I think a lot of this, I was watching Alan Dershowitz on with Hannity last night, and he was talking about how for a lot of people who are law and order people, of which I am, that, these are the moments when we really do need to reflect upon the balance that needs to be struck. Because I'm all law and order, man. But just because somebody's sent away doesn't mean they did it. It might just mean they pled to it because they were told, if you challenge us, we're going to give you something greater. And that's not the fault of a DA or a prosecutor. That's how the system works, and take it or leave it. But in the course of all this conversation, the obsession on Trump testifying before the whatchamajiggy, what's his name? Who's the guy?
Which guy?
The guy's doing the investigation. He's obsessed.
Oh,
Mueller. Yeah, Mueller. And Rudy Giuliani was on. It was on. I saw it live. Was on NBC with what's his head, and much has been said about it since Sunday when he said, when Rudy said, "Truth is not truth." And I know people were aghast, and liberals love to exploit that statement. He tried to clarify it, and I knew exactly what he was saying when he said it. Goose, have you ever been? What's it called? It starts with a D. When you sit across from lawyers and they ask you questions. Yes. Have you ever been deposed?
Deposed? No, I've never been deposed.
Okay, I've been deposed. So, Mrs. Barks, was it a Tuesday or a Wednesday? I can't remember. Well, pick one. Was it a Tuesday or a Wednesday? Maybe it was a Wednesday? Would you be surprised, Mrs. Barks, if we told you it was actually a Tuesday? Mm-hmm. That's why in these situations the truth is not the truth, because at least in my experience, in my opinion, because they're not trying to, when we hear that the president might be set up for perjury, we all think of these things we've seen on Law and Order, these major, perjuring yourself is this major event where you lie about somebody committing a crime and say they didn't do it, or say you didn't witness it, or cover for them. But when we're talking about the nitty-gritty, tiny little details of a deposition or a court case, that's not what lawyers are talking about. They're not talking about big picture perjury. They're talking about the little things they can hook you up on. And I remember being told, Inga, you are a terrible witness. It was for that reason, because I'd go, I don't know, it was 10 years ago. What do you want from me? And they'd go, would you be surprised? And I go, oh, gee whiz.
No, I wouldn't, because I said it was either a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
I don't, and so on very little things they will hang the word perjury, where I think in the general public think of it as a ginormous thing. And they do this, I mean, the whole world has done the same thing, let's face it. We've made a high schooler who takes a gun to school and doesn't actually shoot anybody. We've used the words terror, right? We like to throw words around. And they don't necessarily always apply. So I sympathize with Rudy Giuliani, and I'm surprised that I got through telling you about being deposed without going like this. 5 days, 6 to 8 hours straight of just pummeling, and so it's pretty vicious. It's pretty ruthless. There's these new commercials out right now. It's very interesting. We've got these state elections. Of course, we've got Senator Andy Vidak, who represents portions of Kern County. We've got Congressman Valadeo, who represents portions of Kern County. And both of them have had ads that, I'm not saying they have ads, I'm saying there have been ads. I've seen the Vidak ones online, and I've seen the Valadeo ones on TV, in which the commercials say Vidak voted for free lunches for everyone, and there's a part of me that says, is this an attempt by liberals to tick off conservatives, or is this an attempt on conservatives to woo liberals? But it doesn't matter, because you already have free lunches. I guess at the state level, though, it's a federal program. But you know what I'm saying though here? Mm-hmm. Like remember during the primary we saw something that at least we had never previously recognized, or I hadn't. I apologize. You probably did because you're smart. And that was the advertisements for Tim Cox, and how the theory was that they were pro Tim Cox commercials that were really just trying to get Gavin Newsom's name out there and get Travis Allen out of the race. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if that was really the motive, and I don't know what the motive is in this case, but I love the Valadeo commercial. Love it. And I love David Valadeo. He's a personal friend. I hold him dear. The commercial is about how he believes in that. Well, the commercial, I should have had you pull it up. Maybe tomorrow we can play it. They go to your schools. They were born in your country. They teach your children. They work. They contribute to the economy. They're dreamers. And David Valadeo has a vision for the dreamers. Blah, blah, blah. Now, if you're a conservative living in David Valadeo's district, you're going, what? If you're a liberal, you're going right on. So I'm not sure if this was paid for by David, or if it's for or against him, or maybe it spreads its wings in both directions. I have no idea. But my favorite part of the commercial is that it says that these are children who've known no other country but the United States of America their entire lives. And the first thing that came to me is, if you know somebody who is working at a rural migrant worker, well, they're not migrants anymore, but school where, say, everybody is an illegal immigrant, the children are all illegally here. Mm-hmm. Do you know how long their Christmas vacation? How long are your kids on Christmas vacation?
2 weeks.
They get 4. You know why?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to another country. They're going home. And so this is the only country they've ever known. Really? Their Easter's longer too.
So we only get 1 week.
Yeah, I think they get more than that. So I'm sorry. That's my favorite part of the commercial, though. Every time I see it, I go, yes, the only country they've ever known. I've never spent 4 weeks anywhere outside of Bakersfield. Wait. No, I haven't. That's a long time to be away from my real home that I really know. So anyway, but that's just me. All right, so we're going to take a break in a few as I'm rattling through all my thingamajigs. The Kern County, we'll get to that. Let me write it down. The RNC. I've lamented for years, and I've said this on the show too, that I hate their phone calls. I hate it. Have you ever been called by the RNC? Are you registered Republican?
Yeah, I'm registered Republican, but if I don't recognize the number, I don't answer it.
Yeah, see, I'm not in the position to do that anymore because I'm looking for 8 to 5 work.
I get that. No, I get that.
Yeah. So I get these calls and they always annoy me because I try to be nice. They're the Republican National Committee, and they're asking me for money, and I always start out nice, and I always end up incredibly agitated. And sometimes I've yelled, and I will, and then I come on the air or I go on Facebook and I complain about it. And then when we get back from the break, I'm going to tell you what I learned, what I think my theory is anyway. I can't say I learned it for fact, but my theory. And coming up on the show, we've got a crazy man who says he's a pastor who apparently abused people in Uganda. You'll love this. If you haven't seen it, you'll love it. And it's a critical thinking moment. We've got, what else do we have in terms of video?
We got the firefighter.
Oh, that's such a great story. He wasn't even a firefighter.
Oh, really?
No, he was just a neighbor. Yeah, real hero.
Oh, wow.
Real hero. And then we've got also some commentary on the upcoming 10-week series or 10-episode series of
The Purge.
The Purge. Why does Inga talk about the Purge? Because I've talked about it more than once.
Right.
Because I see what they're doing, and it bothers me. All right, we'll be right back. I'm Inga, broadcasting from the Bakersfield Music Hall of Fame. So happy to be here with you. We'll be right back.
At the time you were arrested, you were served with a DS-367 temporary driver's license. It's good for 30 days, but if you don't act within 10 days, at the end of those 30 days, your license will be suspended. It's important for your lawyer to contact the DMV for you. Set up a driver's license administrative hearing so that your license does not go into suspension. That's something here at Braemar Law we do for you.
Introducing the new California State Penitentiary Bologna Sandwich. Jail food sucks. Don't let your family eat jail food.
Live and direct from the Golden State. It's intelligent talk media. The Denise Gary Show.
Denise here from the Denise Gary Show. Having worked with top secret clearances, providing information and analysis to agencies and departments such as the CIA, the DoD, the State Department, and the United States military, I look forward to bringing my professional and academic expertise to you, calling us all to take action on the most critical issues of our time, locally, statewide, nationally, and internationally, as we learn how what happens overseas impacts all of us here at home. Together, we'll connect the dots.
Hey, welcome back. Yeah, thanks, Goose. Thanks for reminding me that they have confirmed that they found
Molly Tibbetts.
the beautiful young gal from Iowa who was a college student. She went out for a jog and never seen again. And what a solid family she has. What a great group of people. And the perp, right? The
Right.
alleged perp is his being a perp is alleged. What he did is still alleged, but what is not alleged is his status as a citizen.
Right.
He's what? He's wanted on multiple, or he's wanted?
He's being held, this is what that was reported on the news, is that he's being held on a federal immigration bond.
Or hold? Is it a hold or a bond?
Hold.
Okay.
Or hold or bond or whatever. It's just, to me, he's in.
He's not supposed to be here.
No.
And it's federal. Well, of course it's federal. But he's not supposed to be here. What does that make me think of? Oh, Kate Steinle.
Kate Steinle.
Or three beautiful little teenage girls in New Jersey. Or, I mean, we can go down the list. And, upon one person, we cannot judge an entire group.
Right.
I totally understand that. But we see this happening over and over and over again. And the thing is with liberals, for instance, if one person commits a gun crime, all gun owners should be their guns should be surrendered.
Right.
But time after time after time, we don't fix our immigration system, and this beautiful young girl is murdered. And so remember the guy who we all celebrated? I don't think he was legally in the country, but he had a daughter. He was working on a farm in Texas. I love this story. Mm-hmm. And another illegal immigrant, I don't love this part, molested his daughter. The dad catches the guy in the act and beats him with a rock, I think kills him. And I don't think anybody in the country said, deport him! I think most of us went, good for you! I don't think charges were even brought against him. So, I wish we could make things more individualized. I know the system's too big. We've got 350 million people, but if the federal government says you need to go and you're hiding, why would you commit a crime? I would be so in the... Haven't we been told that people are in the shadows all the time, hiding out? They're in the shadows.
Let me remind everybody...
Only the shadow knows.
Let me remind everybody that the gentleman, and I'm using the word nicely, loosely, the gentleman who shot and killed Kate Steinle was let off.
Mm-hmm. Because it ricocheted. He still had a gun in public. He still fired it, but her death was a result of a ricochet, so he didn't do it on purpose.
However, I will say this, that if it was me and it ricocheted and killed somebody, well, I should have known that was going to happen.
Right.
And I would go to prison for life.
Wasn't he like a 7-time deportee?
Yeah.
And then there's deportee. It sounds so French and nice. Hey, maybe we should use that. It would maybe lure people. How would you like to become a deportee? And remember the family coming home from Disneyland, little boy in the back seat of the car, hit by little boys. I don't know whatever became of that family. That their car was totaled. The little boy sent to the hospital. You've got a woman who was killed when she was rear-ended by a drunk illegal immigrant down in Los Angeles at an intersection. I mean, we could just go on and on.
I think it's because a lot of them believe now that. Because of precedent, they feel like nothing's going to happen to them.
And this is where we also need to put on our critical thinking caps and always pay attention to the news stories. I mean, in this case, so this guy's an illegal immigrant. That doesn't make it an argument for, that just feeds our argument against illegal immigration. But the part where it has been wanted by the feds and they wanted to get rid of him and he shouldn't have been here in the first place, well, now you're mad. You know what I mean? Now you're ticked. This is somebody's daughter. Mm-hmm. There was a story I caught yesterday or the day before about a woman who was, the way the story was told, and I do believe one of our local TV stations told it, a woman's going to the hospital to have her baby. Now, when you think of that, having watched a lot of TV or having had babies, you know how that goes. You're racing, you're doing the hoo he, right? And every speed bump hurts, and you smack your husband or whatever. And this guy's driving his wife. Did you see this story, Goose? Guy's driving his wife to a California hospital. Mm-hmm. He gets pulled over. He's an illegal. Now, if you read the headline, you would say, oh my gosh, how cruel are we? The guy's taken his wife to have a baby, which means she's in labor. And that's what it connotates. She's in labor. And he's an illegal, granted, but let him just be there with his baby. Well, guess what? He was wanted on a murder warrant. And he's illegal. Wanted for murder. And as for his wife, it was a scheduled cesarean section, which means she was not in labor. I've had a cesarean section, and it was an emergency one. That's where they go, oh my gosh, we got to do this now, right? As opposed to where they go, well, let's see, what day's good for you? Would you like to have the baby on your grandfather's birthday? That sounds nice. So I'm sorry, and God bless her, she had the baby, and she got the greatest care in the world for herself and for her child. So this is when we've got to read between the lines, I think, and make sure that we're critically thinking. I know that liberals would say that I should do the same thing about headlines, and they're right, and I try to. In fact, I try not to share stories that I don't have more than one source from. You know, you try to have at least 3 sources for a story. Speaking of, boy, I'm just plowing through stuff today. You said I could go long today, but I. I know. Tomorrow I'm going to come in and go blah 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 blah. This story I found it on what is it, KTUV? KTVU, whatever.
You know how I know that, right?
I'm like the Al Sharpton of naming television stations. Oh, yes, I know you knew that. RESPICT, that's all I ask. The story of this gentleman who was he was not a volunteer firefighter, he wasn't even a firefighter. This was back in October when they had the fires back then. And he lost his home. He secures his wife and his family. And then he goes back to help his neighbors. And then a couple of weeks ago, he's on the treadmill and he dies. There's a GoFundMe page, and I'm not big on promoting GoFundMes. You can go with your heart on that, and they'll talk about it in this news story. But the long and the short of it is, you know, he's a contractor who didn't have enough insurance money to even put his own house back together. But he's a hero. And so let's can we watch that story from KTVU? How did I do?
Excellent.
Well, I'm going to the beach where I belong.
Where the days are warm
And the nights are long.
And as soon as we get to this commercial, you have to see the clip.
Free Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk is open daily.
Oh, the Beach and Boardwalk's open daily.
Well, I guess if that's how I make the money.
A North Bay man lauded as a hero during last October's firestorm is being mourned tonight. Ralph Caselli was only 52 years old. He died last week of a heart attack.
His loss is being felt not only by family and friends, but a community grateful for what Caselli did. KTV's Deborah Villalone is live in Santa Rosa tonight with that story. Deborah.
Audrey, this was the Caselli home in Fountain Grove. This place and most of those around it burned down the night of October 8th. But the fact that everyone survived, neighbors credit one man.
Come on, she's disabled. All right, let me get her feet.
October's firestorm erupted so suddenly, people barely got out ahead of the flames.
Sheriff's office!
And 22 people died, trapped by the Tubbs fire.
They said, "Thank you, Ralph. You did a noble thing."
These notes reveal it might have been more.
That night, waking everyone up. Seriously, Ralph, you saved us. Thank you.
Esther Caselli is mourning her husband of 16 years. Ralph collapsed and died at the gym, a sudden heart attack at 52. He leaves behind a large and loving family, 2 adult children, and the couple's 14-year-old son.
But I had no clue that there was a fire.
He leaves, among his neighbors, a legacy.
Honking his horn, pounding on our front door, and I opened up and he said, "You have to leave right now."
That night, after Caselli led his family to safety, he went back and roamed the twists and turns of Parker Hill Road, banging on neighbors' doors and windows, jumping fences, shouting, getting sleeping people up and out, alerting 20 households, even going back to make sure they were leaving.
It took everything I had just to get my family out of the house. So for him to do that is absolutely amazing. And we wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for him.
What Casale did makes his family proud, but not surprised. It fits this man of faith, friendly and interested in everyone he met.
He was a humble guy, and he was real. That's what about Ralph. He was real. He wasn't somebody who was one person one way and one person the next day. He was real.
At Casale's burned-down house, the thank you notes left on his gate made him cry. As for his actions that night,
What else could I do? He said, I had to do that, because if they didn't get out, how would I feel?
now the family looks at life without him. Even as a contractor, Casale was burdened by financial hassles of rebuilding. Some wonder if that played a role in his death.
I was like, this guy's got great karma going, like he's going to be good for so long, and I was just shocked when we heard, but at the same time, it is really stressful to rebuild.
His loved ones will cherish these notes, as they will their memories.
He was a great friend. He was my best friend. And we're going to miss him a lot, but we're going to see him again.
At KTVU.com, we've got a link to this GoFundMe account. Friends have set this up for the Casale family for expenses going forward. His memorial service is tomorrow. More than 500 people are expected. Andre, Aliana, they will be honoring a man who was as much a first responder as anyone in a uniform.
Truly sad story. All right. Deb, thank you so much for that report.
And you're back.
So, you know, just Ralph Casale, I think is his name, or Casale, his family. I mean, just what great, fantastic people. What a hero. And I did not want to go without acknowledging him before the top of the hour. All right, now I'm gonna come back, circle back, and talk about the RNC real quick, and then we'll get to things that are more relevant to our lives. Have you ever gotten how many times has this happened to you? You get the phone call. Hello, I'm looking for Inga Barks. Who's calling? That's what I always say, who's calling? Well, this is so-and-so from the Republican National Committee. Now, it's crazy because I'm not registered in Kern, I'm registered in Kern County as a Republican, but the local Republican Party, powers that be, hate me so much, they took me off the mailing list a long time ago. And so I don't have to worry about phone calls. I don't get them. I don't get the phone calls. Have you voted tonight yet? I don't get those. I don't get the mail. I have to steal it from my son and my mother. Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. But you know, at the federal level, at the national level, I still get the calls. Now, let me preface that I have never given money to the RNC. If I've ever had money to give, I give it to a candidate. Because the RNC is going to disperse it amongst their candidates, and it might not be one I like. And even if I give it to a particular candidate, they might share it with people, as Kevin McCarthy does, that I don't like. And they do it for their own purpose, to get themselves voted into speaker or, you know, chairmanships and all that kind of stuff. That's fine. They got an R next to their name. I wish them well. But I don't give money to, I give money to candidates I trust and candidates I believe in. Also, I am not a Republican because I'm a Republican. I don't wear the, you know, the rhinestoned elephant pins on my hat to the conventions, okay? Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's fantastic. My grandmother sewed elephant patches on all of her sweaters. I thought that was awesome. Red, white, and blue. But anyway, just so we're clear, I've never given money to the RNC. What I've had to offer them is my microphone. And so I get these calls every once in a while, and they usually, as I said, I start out as nice as I can be. I don't want to hang up on them because my kids have done door-to-door canvassing. And I know what it's like I don't know what it's like, but I imagine if they were faced with somebody like me, as hostile as I usually am toward telemarketers, how miserable their day would be. So I try to be nice. And this guy yesterday, I'm not kidding you. This guy yesterday was amazing. I won't go through the whole story other than to say he asked if I was me. I said yes. He told me who he was. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to play along. I'll just play along. I'm going to be as nice as I can possibly be. And then they start to lie. Well, you've been such a great a charitable, or what is it, a great giver in the past. No, I haven't. I've never given you a penny. oh, well, you know, the money that you donate goes to education. I'm like, what script are you reading from, bub? And he's like, you know, can we count on you for anything? And I said, look, and I'm not telling you guys this for pity. Don't feel sorry for me. All is well. But I said, look, I said this on purpose because I wanted to see what he was going to say. And it's true. I said, look, I got $60 in the bank. That's it. That's all I've got. I've got nothing coming in. And I've got $60 in the bank. And I'm not kidding you. He said, can I count on you for the 60? No future income coming in. Nothing on the horizon. I've got $60. I just bought toilet paper after a week without. It was a real coup in my house. And you know, and not only that, but I'd spent the morning negotiating my bills with people, right? And so then this guy calls. And when I told him no, he said, well, I'm disappointed. He was disappointed in me. And so I said, yeah, you're laughing, and I'm laughing now, but now I'm ticked. Now I'm annoyed, and I said, no, you know what? Let's do it. Let me give you my last $60, and all I need from you is your full name, and who you're working for, and their phone number, and click. So what I realized at that moment, because I've never even thought about it before. Usually I think these are young, enthusiastic volunteers who are working for the party. But this guy was like working from a script. I could tell. Mm-hmm. You know, Shelley Berman. Ever heard of Shelley Berman? Mm-hmm. He used to have this comedy piece where this was his old comedy piece. My sister and I had the record we would play, and he's sitting on a plane and the wing catches on fire, and the stewardess comes over and says, coffee, tea, or milk? And he says, stewardess, the wing is on fire. And she says, coffee, tea, or milk? That's how I felt with this guy. I'm like, okay, all right, how about I send you my last $60? And he was like, awesome. Will that be by credit card or check? And so here's what I decided after that. I talked to Solomon about it because I had a theory. There is no way that these people who call you from the RNC, most of the time, I'm going to say, especially if they're this rude. He was disappointed in me. There's no way these are. Oh, I also asked him what his commission was, because there's no way these are volunteers, little 18-year-old hopefuls that love the party. You know, like McCarthy was when he first started in politics. He totally volunteered. He worked door to door. I volunteered. I totally get it. These are paid people. So when you get that call, my encouragement now, officially, be as hostile as you want. Because they are... Is this S? I can't remember.
I don't remember either.
I didn't say it on the air.
It rhymes with sick.
And they're full of... You can probably guess what that is.
Yeah, I know what that is. I think half the country knows what that is.
So it was overwhelming, and it actually took me out of my groove. I was on a groove, man. I was online. I'm filling out. I'm sending resumes. I'm doing all that stuff. And then this guy calls me, and he tells me he's disappointed in me. This stranger, and if anything makes me feel bad about myself, it's shame and anger. I hate it when I lose control. It's just not my style. And so I spent the rest of the day, and it's not his fault, it's my fault. But I spent the rest of the day in a funk because dude was ashamed of me, disappointed in me because he wasn't going to get his commission off my $60. Oh gosh. Anyway, the good news is, I do not believe, it's just my opinion based on observation and talking to Solomon, who's done a number of campaigns, I do not believe these are volunteers.
You have some interesting comments.
Are any of them offering me money? I'm just kidding. This is a joke. I'm totally joking. So anyway, it's now that I think about it in hindsight, it was very funny. But this is one of those people who, when they talk to you, they go, what is this characteristic where people, when they talk to you, they go, man. Do you know what I'm talking about?
It's a tick?
I don't know. I think it's something, it's like a, know what I mean? And no, it's like a, know what I mean? It was that kind of dialect.
Okay.
Oh, man. And the other thing, he kept calling me Igna. And here I am telling him the truth about my life, and I could hear him laughing. So he's sitting there at some phone bank somewhere getting paid by the hour and getting commission, probably getting commission more than paid by the hour. And again, one of my sons was the highest. He did a recent petition drive, got the most signatures every day. There was a prize offered for the most signatures. He got it every single day for like 3 months or 2 months. He got paid well, and he never got in people's grills. He just ingratiated himself to them. And if I'm never making those phone calls, I would be saying to the person, "Can I pray for you? I'm sorry." So anyway, I did suggest that he send me money at one point, but he wasn't down for that. So there you go. All right, what are we doing? We're taking the break top of the hour.
We can either go to a break.
Share some thoughts?
We can go to a break, or we can go to some of your comments.
Well, let's go to the comments. Let's hear it.
All right. So
it's an embarrassing story to tell because I was ashamed. I was ashamed to admit to this loser that I don't have anything.
Because we got we've covered a lot over.
Yeah, we have.
So Renee first, basically going back to the music we were talking about. Renee says,
Renee, it can't be denied. Renee.
Barry Manilow.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how many times did you watch that HBO special where he did Copacabana? It was the greatest. The whole dance number.
And then I think she comes back later because we were talking about crime. She says a cabbie got stabbed in the CVS parking lot.
Today?
I don't know if it was today. She didn't say it today. But
I would prefer a stabby get cabbed. I hope they're okay.
Greg
in Bakersfield? Cabs in Bakersfield?
I haven't seen a cab unless it's near the airport.
Well, there are some like vans and stuff. One time I ran out of gas and I was working on Pegasus.
Mm-hmm.
No, I wasn't running it. My battery was dead. And I called a cab because I didn't believe in Uber and Lyft and all that stuff. $50 from Panama Lane to Pegasus. $50. No, I did not tip him.
Greg, he hits on a few issues. First, he wants to talk about the perjury thing. He says getting them on taxes is what they go after almost every time.
And they could, to my knowledge, I've never committed a crime. But there was a time when my husband's disability was overpaid by a lot of money, tens of thousands. And, the government came after us. And I guess they could accuse me of something, Mm-hmm. It was completely innocent. In fact, I knew nothing about it until I got the letters.
And then he makes a comment about what I'm going to just say, the illegal outlaws. The illegal outlaws. He says,
that's the term he uses, huh?
That's what I use. That's the term I use. Which I hope catches on.
Uh-huh.
He says, take him about 100 miles out to sea and deport him there and see if he makes it back.
Oh, dump him like Osama bin Laden.
Right in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, I like it.
See if he can swim.
Actually, you don't have to work that hard. I do believe some beaches in California have been closed because of heavy shark presence.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too. And then he talks about the telemarketers. Well, I guess they're telemarketers, whatever.
They are. There's no way that the Republican, if I called my congressman, well, I wouldn't call my congressman, but if I called Devin Nunes or a congressman who likes me and told them this, or people I know at the RNC, this would be intolerable.
And then he says about the telemarketers, he says, I don't talk to any of them. I say I don't have any money. Goodbye.
And see, I'm sorry you even have to qualify it by saying I don't have any money. You know, I actually had a telemarketer from Spectrum Cable call the other day. Wanted to speak to head of household, and I said he's dead. Took care of that.
Silence. Yeah, I say that line every time I get approached from a panhandler. Do you have any? I don't have any. We don't carry cash. Goodbye.
Yeah, I don't carry any cash.
I don't either. And even if I do, it's not for them.
Although I will tell you, I did find $22 in change at the bottom of my purse last week. Feeling pretty good about that.
Before we go to break, I do have to preface that my camera is not working. This is why you do not see my face laughing hysterically at all of it.
Oh no, what's wrong?
It's just their connection is not working.
But you wore a collared shirt. It's even Nike. Who's the team?
Oh, it's Carry 1410. Which happens to be right next door to us.
Which used to be owned by our former. You know, when I'm filling out like a resume, doing resumes and stuff about my job history, it's really hard to say who you worked for and when, because everybody sells everybody. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I got into radio in 1993. And the company that owned me sold to another company that just kept me doing what I was doing. So as far as I knew, I was just showing up for work every day doing the same thing. So it's kind of funny carrying 1410. I have some 1410 t-shirts.
It's comfortable. I like it. You know.
Yeah.
I get a lot of compliments on it. So.
It looks great. It's great on you. Yeah, you're a very handsome fellow. Now we got to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break.
Does this mean I can do that thing that I do, that voodoo that I do so well?
Oh, yes. Go right ahead. Just don't hit me on the way out.
All right. Very good. Very good. This time I'll wear shoes. Folks, we'll be right back. Lots more fun, hopefully, to have with you. Got to talk about the new dress code in a Bay Area high school.
No way.
Yeah.
In the Bay Area?
In the Bay Area.
I thought they got to wear whatever they wanted.
That's the new dress code.
Oh, my
We're going to do a little plastic straw business. We would talk about bail bonds issues, but TJ is going to come on tomorrow, I think, and we'll talk about that because he's just back from Sacramento where he was dealing with that subject. But we do have the elimination of punishments for felonies to talk about as well. So we have lots to do today. So we'll be right back. I'm Inga, broadcasting from the Bakersfield Music Hall of Fame with Blue Sky Media and Kerncast at kerncast.com. We'll be right back.
I choose Patriot Bail Bonds.
We choose Patriot Bail Bonds.
We choose Patriot Bail Bonds.
If the best criminal attorneys choose Patriot Bail Bonds, who would you choose?
Patriot Bail Bonds. We fight for your freedom.
Patriot Bail Bonds has the best customer service in Bakersfield. Patriot has more 5-star ratings than any bail company in Kern County. Plus, we're fast and affordable. If you run into the law, make Patriot Bail Bonds your first call. That's right, one call, that's all.
If you're in jail, call Patriot Bail.
At the time you were arrested, you were served with a DS-367 temporary driver's license. It's good for 30 days, but if you don't act within 10 days, at the end of those 30 days, your license will be suspended. It's important for your lawyer to contact the DMV for you. Set up a driver's license administrative hearing so that your license is not going to suspension. That's something here at Braemar Law we do for you.
Well, I already did sign language today, so I thought I'd just do jazz hands to welcome you back. Welcome back, I'm Inga. This is the Inga Barks Show. Happy to talk to you today. I am fully energized, none of it on caffeine. Are you impressed?
For right now, yeah.
Yeah. I woke up at 6:30 this morning and I was like, this is good. Good, I got me some Triscuits, put a little bit of light cheese on them, and I thought, this is good, I'll be up for the rest of the... So, anyway, it's been a good day. So, it's practically morning for me. All right, I almost gave out a phone number.
3 and 2 and...
It's just knee-jerk, All right, so I told you about the RNC, and that was very discouraging until I realized that they were just... The Kern County Law Enforcement Association is a union, and they are sheriff's deputies. They are going to be having a rally, if they haven't already had it, to call for you to vote to increase your own taxes because they need more deputies and they need more this and that. You know, guys, I'm personally not planning to vote for this, but I'm not going to tell you not to. I mean, when it was with the Kern Community College District, and it was increasing our property taxes to fund stuff that they should have done a long time ago, I had no sympathy. With this, I do understand, and I think it's easier to probably just say, let's just raise taxes on people than it is to say, let's audit where the county spends its money and why they don't have the budget that the sheriff's department needs. So, you know, and remember, these are the guys who originally endorsed Freeman. So they've been in discontent for a while. Or was it, wait, maybe it was the detention officers. No, I think it was these guys. So all I can tell you is on this, as we get closer and closer to November and voting on it, I will not vote for a tax on you or myself. I can't afford it. And I don't know if you can, but if you can, congratulations. Do we need more officers? Yes. How do we get them? I don't know. Again, I'll go back to Mayberry or small towns, which America used to be made up of, where you had very little law enforcement because you had very little need. But that aside, the government itself, the bureaucracy, all of the regulations, all of the, fines and fees and all that stuff didn't exist back then. It wasn't as hard to get through government. I was talking to somebody today who does constituent services, which I think is an incredibly important job in an elected's office. Do you know what they do?
I have no idea.
Your constituent services is now city council. They are your constituent service, but it's supervisor, assemblyman, senator, congressman, especially for me. When you can't navigate your way through all of the government red tape. Like when my husband was on life support and he didn't qualify for disability benefits. This is when you go, okay, this is a federal issue. I'm going to my congressman. And they have a person sitting at a desk, the constituent services person, who's waiting to help you. And when you've got, or tell you they can't, but they usually can. If you've got an issue with the county and you're just trying to put a driveway in or gravel or something and it's taken forever and you can't get the permit, guess what you do? You call your county supervisor's office and you ask for the constituent services person. And that's what they do. I personally think it's one of the most important things that our especially local electeds do. Same with assembly, if your issue is with the state. Same with and of course federal, as I said. Congress. So where was I going with that? I forget where I was going with that.
Oh, the sheriffs.
Yeah, I mean, outside of constituent services, how many, I've said this before, how many programs do we have that we're paying for that we don't even know we're paying for? Please do not be mad at me. Please do not be mad at me. But I saw the other day a celebration of some stuff that Garden Pathways is going to be doing with the homeless. Garden Pathways is a nonprofit. They are associated with the church. They also had the privilege of signing a lot of prisoners up for Medi-Cal after Obamacare passed. The thing is they are one of their boards of directors or whatever. Two of them. Well, one of them used to be Shannon Grove. I don't know if it still is, but another one is Mayor.
Our mayor?
Yeah, what?
Karen Go.
Karen Go. Delightful people both. But, when Karen Go was on the Board of Supervisors, she got $500,000 to her organization to sign people up for these things. You think Garden Pathways is working on the homeless problem? This celebration they had the other day on launching their new program. You think they're doing that for free? No, they got a grant somewhere. They got some money somewhere. They got it from the city, or they got it from the county, or maybe they got it through a grant. But if they got it through your tax dollars, no offense against homeless people, but how many programs do we already have? Mm-hmm. I can't help saying, could we hire another sheriff's deputy for that money? Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I'll tell you that.
Or police officer in case of the city.
I noticed something interesting last night.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we're getting. I don't think we're getting new furniture. We're getting.
Yay!
But we're getting new furniture for us. We have friends that are like they're getting rid of stuff, and we're like, oh, if you will take it,
yeah,
we'll pay you. But
I like that. Willing buyer, willing seller. That's what makes America.
Over the weekend, we went. We were driving around, and we stopped off at the Sonic in downtown. Mm-hmm. And getting some milkshakes. And
did you get tater tots?
No, I didn't get tater. I love their tater tots though. They're the best. And
tater tots! I hardly knew. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
As I'm sitting in the drive-thru, I look ahead and there are like 4. I don't know if I call them vagrants or homeless people, or they're just hanging around the little dining area. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, just
free assembly.
Yeah. and
Constitutional.
Last night we decided, while we were out, we stopped off at the Sonic in Oildale, right off of Olive and Roberts, whatever that street is. Mm-hmm. And we parked and got ice cream, and there wasn't anybody, no homeless, no vagrants, hanging around their dining area. And I'm wondering is it, and I know this is going to sound funny, but is it like location? Because
might just be. I mean, I'd go to the better spots. I know that somehow homeless people make it all the way out to the Southwest every day, and then all the way back to wherever it is that they started their day, and it wasn't in the Southwest, although it's increasingly so. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. All I know is we've got homeless shelters, and they do really great work. And I would rather privately donate to them than have my tax dollars used. I know that one of the reasons why Jeff Heinley was in last week was that he was talking about, yet another county big brain
idea.
Yes, thank you. That's what I meant. To stop homelessness within the next 10 years. Are you kidding me? And you know what? I don't think these guys are liars. I don't. I think they see money that's offered to them, maybe even for just this purpose, and they say, gee, it's an election year. We can promise to eradicate homelessness in Kern County in the next 10 years. We'll be gone in 10 years anyway. Who cares? Except for maybe Scribner, who's young, and Letitia Perez, who's young. So I don't know. Again, I don't know if they use tax dollars for these plans, or if they use grant money that came through tax dollars from the state, stuff like that. But boy, I have seen lawmakers and policymakers contort themselves to make money work for something that it wasn't intended for. So what if you said we've got $1 million to end homelessness? And you spend it on cops instead of on some new program when we already have perfectly good programs.
So let me ask you this, because John French was in here before you.
Yeah, he wants weed to pay for.
And what do you think of that idea?
I'm not. I was going to say I was dyslexic on you. What's the word? What's the word? It starts with an A. I can take or leave all of this conversation. I know the cat's out of the bag, so pot's going to be pot, and it's going to be legal, and the people are going to do with it what they're going to do. I personally would prefer not to benefit off of those tax dollars. You know, there, at least if you look at Colorado as a model, or Oregon or Seattle as a model, there are many people there who went there for the legal pot, and now they're homeless. So I wish it weren't something I have to talk about. It's kind of like talking to your kids about sex, which I just did for the first time a week ago. Well, boys, now that you're 23, thought we might have a little chat. So, you know, I don't know. I appreciated John. I don't know if he was being facetious or serious.
Oh, he's being very serious.
He was being very serious. All right. And he was calling it a sin tax, which is, I think, is fine. But remember, well, yeah, and like I told him, you know, when taxes go up on cigarettes, people stop smoking. People ain't going to stop smoking weed,
no,
even if it gets more expensive. They're just going to go underground and find a tax-free way to do it. And so I'd prefer it not be a solution, but I respect John's view. I love him. In fact, as soon as I saw him, my heart leapt because he's a dear friend. Two South High people back to back on this channel. All right, what else do we have today? Do we have?
You want to go about the Vietnam pastor?
Okay, now this is a lesson in critical thinking. Again, I'm not a critical thinker. I mean, I'm as much of a formal operations gal as the rest of you over 14 are. You know, you got to chew the meat, spit out the bones. You got to weed through this stuff and think about it first. Because a lot of times headlines say things, and you go, "Oh my gosh, that headline!" I love headlines, but once I read the story, I'm usually disappointed. Now, this story really had only a headline. I found a few articles because I was looking for confirmation of the story. And I won't be able to hear it. I might be able to see it, but I won't be able to hear it. And I think this is an edited version, right? So we don't have the cuss words in it because it's Fox.
I mean, I know he's got the finger blurred and the whole thing.
So what does the headline say?
Basically, it talks about the story. A Vietnam veteran claiming to be a missionary assaulted hotel workers in Uganda.
Okay.
In an ungodly manner.
And on the internet, especially social media, what I saw was, this is what's wrong with Christians. This is the kind, and I was like, I got to see this. So I watched it and came to a conclusion. Let's if you've been wondering what the chitter chatter has been about on this issue, let's play for people this brief. I hope it's brief video.
Well, it's 4 minutes, but we can cut it if you want.
Yeah, just give me the part where he's being rude.
Okay.
I mean, just give people a taste.
Okay.
A Vietnam veteran claiming to be a missionary assaulted hotel workers in Uganda in a very ungodly display, where he called the employees the N-word and threw punches in the name of Jesus. Jimmy L. Taylor's angry tirade was caught on camera, and he was arrested soon afterwards and charged with assault and malicious damage for his attack at the Grand Imperial Hotel in Kampala on Thursday. Video of the 69-year-old's attack has gone viral, displaying the Arizona man, seemingly drunk, jump over the hotel front desk to smash glasses and insult workers, all because he wanted to get his room key. He told police he is a former Marine and is a missionary. The 5-minute clip sees Taylor, sporting a Vietnam veteran cap, follow hotel workers saying "You hate Jesus, you hate yourself," then hit a worker in the face, challenging him to fight saying "Come on BH, come on WE." FK Uganda. I've come to love Uganda, I've come to help Uganda, but Uganda hates Jesus through the son of a BH, he said, pointing at a worker. Then he calls the staff NRBH, adding "You're not a human," as he smacks him in the back of the head, ranting about God and demanding his room be opened for him.
Okay, so if you're told in advance that this guy is a missionary and a pastor, which was one of the other accounts, is that he's a pastor and a missionary, immediately people jumped on Christians and, this is why I don't like missionaries, this is why I don't support it, this is why I hate organized religion. I saw all kinds of stuff that people said about this. You know what was funny, though, what stood out to me, was that if he is a Vietnam vet, which he also claimed to be, nobody was saying, oh, well, look at vets. Right? I mean, people were very quick to go, oh, Christians, horrible, horrible, hateful people. Oh, missionaries, terrible, terrible, I don't support them. And then they forgot, He also claims to be a Vietnam veteran, to which I say, oh my gosh, all veterans must therefore be. And that's just ridiculous. How many minutes till I have to break?
2.
Oh, you gave me the 2. Okay. But here's the thing. He claimed to be a pastor. And he claimed to be a missionary. Now, I know a lot of people get confused about organized religion. I know I do, because I wouldn't say I'm in an organized religion, I'm in a denomination. I am a Christian who prefers the Southern Baptist style of teaching. And Southern Baptists are huge, Baptists in general, huge on missionaries. We love us our missionaries. And I assure you, he wouldn't make the cut.
Not with some of the language he used.
Yeah. One of the stories I told on Facebook was about this guy who showed up at my friend, the Brown's house, or they met him on the street, they picked him up hitchhiking. He called himself Friend. And he was kind of John Michael Talbot-y. He was like, you almost thought he was a Jesuit or something, Might have been Jerry Brown passing through. And he called himself Friend. And they said, well, come, because they were good Christian people. Come stay at our house. And he was just going up and down the state, hitchhiking wherever he could to tell people about Jesus. And when he left their house 3 days later without notice, he stole their jewelry and all of the money that they had. He did give a mean back rub, though. I went over there one day to meet him. So the point I'm making is, this is where if you want to call it organized religion, does come in handy, because they vet. And just because somebody says, my friends who are missionaries in Congo, they got a retirement plan, they've got a salary, they've got a stipend for living in Congo, which you'd need. And so, and secondly, he says he's a pastor. So what? People call themselves preachers all the time. There's a guy in Fresno right now who's about to be deported who says, wait a minute, I'm a pastor. And so there's all kinds of people. Remember, you can get on the back page of the Rolling Stone magazine. Mm-hmm. So, before people get it's just an example to me of how, my first reaction was, and what I saw a lot of people saying on social media was, well, this reflects poorly on us. Doesn't on me. That guy doesn't, I don't do that. If anybody believes that a man represents them as a Christian, they're fools. No man represents me. And I don't care if he's the Pope. Of course, I'm not Catholic, so that works out well for me. No man represents me to God. So anyway, I just thought that was a good lesson in critical thinking when I watched all of the reactions people had to the story. Well, that's it for me and Christians. I was like, what about vets? And if he is a vet, that looks like classic PTSD behavior. The dude's in his 70s probably.
They said it was 69.
69.
And all he wanted was his room key.
He just wanted his room. Did he actually pay for a room? See, that's the other thing. People love to declare themselves something religious, And then David Koresh what seminary school did David Koresh go to? For that matter, Jim Jones. Mm-hmm. They just started a church, and people flocked to it, and then they died. So, anyway, that's all I have to say. In defense of my faith, no. I don't know and especially in terms of missionaries, I don't know one person like that. Mm-hmm. So, go Southern Baptist! All right, anything else?
Oh, I thought we'd hit the break and then come back about the Purge.
Got to come back and talk about the Purge. Are we going to do it together? The Purge. We'll talk about that when we get back. I'm Inga. This is the Inga Barks Show from the beautiful Bakersfield Music Hall of Fame with Blue Sky Media, kerncast.com on Facebook, and of course Goose on the other side, you can't see today, but he looks absolutely fantastic in his baby blue. That skirt is nice too.
Yeah, it's really, a kilt.
It is, yes, it will, so you say. Solomon has a kilt.
Seriously?
Yeah, oh yeah, he wears it with pride. He's Scottish. He's royalty.
Yeah.
He wears it with pride. And one time I said, well, when you're out, like at a pub or something, are you ever worried about people messing with you? Well, you've seen Solomon. He's...
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't touch the top of his head if I wanted to. He's like, no, Mom, I really don't worry about people messing with me. Fair enough, kid. Fair enough. All right, we'll be right back. I'm Inga. We'll see you in a sec.
Patriot Bail Bonds has the best customer service in Bakersfield. Patriot has more 5-star ratings than any bail company in Kern County. Plus, we're fast and affordable. If you run into the law, make Patriot Bail Bonds your first call. That's right, one call, that's all.
If you're in jail, call Patriot Bail.
At the time you were arrested, you were served with a DS-367 temporary driver's license. It's good for 30 days, but if you don't act within 10 days, at the end of those 30 days, your license will be suspended. It's important for your lawyer to contact the DMV for you. Set up a driver's license administrative hearing so that your license does not go into suspension. That's something here at Braemar Law we do for you.
Oh, the torture. I've been sitting here all this time staring at a picture of a little brat enjoying the American dream of a hamburger. And I know it's from McDonald's. It's a cheeseburger, I can tell.
It was delicious.
I'm sure it was absolutely fantastic. And I say to myself, whenever I start feeling better physically, I say to myself, I can have a hamburger. And then I do. And then you don't see me for a couple of days. So it's just killing me. It's killing. But I've got some wonderful steamed chicken at home waiting for me, with some cottage cheese on the side. Anyway. So this there's a new California bill that's going to limit the drinks that are offered by fast foods in the kids' meals. And, it passed. I believe it's on its way to the governor's desk if he hasn't already signed it. This is a law that basically, as I said on my Facebook page yesterday, you got a bunch of lawmakers who support the killing of the unborn, right? But they want to tell you how to keep your kids healthy? Well, after they're born, we care. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. It interferes with the free market. Look, if I want to get a Happy Meal, and I want a soda with it, and that's what comes with it, then give it to me. One of my Facebook friends said, well, that's how they make money, because the sodas cost them so much less than offering a milk, which is what this law says they have to do, or a water. Okay, and that's how you make a profit, right? You buy low, you sell high. And so I don't get it. Besides that, when I used to get my kids Happy Meals, guess who got the sodas? So anyway, maybe we'll get more into this tomorrow. But I want to talk to you about the Purge. Now, this is a movie that came out in 2013, I do believe. Ethan Hawke starred in it. And how many iterations, is that the term? How many movies have come out? 2?
I want to say 4.
4 already? Gee whiz. We've been waiting for decades for Gone with the Wind 2. No, we haven't. Gone with the Wind, The Reckoning. Gone with the Wind, this time Scarlett means it.
They never went hungry again, you know that.
Yes. Or did she? In theaters. But okay, so The Purge. And the basic thing about The Purge is there's a 12-hour period once a year where people can commit any crime they want. Any crime they want, including murder. Murder is legal. And it's fantasy, obviously, but the purpose of it is to weed out the riffraff, right? Mm-hmm. All the riffraff hit the streets. All of us close up our windows and shutters, and the riffraff kill each other. And that's basically, I guess, and the TV show, which is going to be a 10-episode series, which comes out soon on the USA Network, I do believe.
It's September 4th.
Why do you know this? Why would you know this?
It's because it's part of my show.
Yeah, it's part of what you do.
Part of what I do.
I saw a little behind-the-scenes interview today, and it talked about how it was really just a sociological study of people's behavior if they were given 12 hours to commit any crime they wanted. And there's a couple of things I want to say about this. But first, I want to play you my favorite commercial about The Purge, because this commercial's coming out in an election year. Mm. Now, I want you to remember, as you watch or listen to this, that the original story, the original movie, takes place in the year 2022. Okay? 2022. Listen to what this... It may make it like a real political commercial about The Purge. Go ahead.
They said it was impossible to revive the American dream, but together we've proven them wrong. Crime is down over 82% since 2016. Government spending is down 37% over the last 10 years. At just 1.4%, unemployment has dropped to a historic low. And with less government assistance takers, hardworking Americans are getting back what they deserve. Our GDP is soaring, so we're putting money back into American pockets. This is the new America, the winning America. Blessed be our new founding fathers. The Purge. This time it's televised.
Isn't that an interesting commercial for a television show? I mean, when first time I saw it with all the faces and all the employment is up, I thought, well, this is a Trump campaign commercial, right? This is a Trump commercial. Crime is down, et cetera, et cetera. Note that I mentioned that the original movie took place in 2022, and yet here they cite, right, the crime, unemployment, all, since 2016. Now, for those of you who are thinking people, you know that President Trump was only elected in 2016. He didn't actually take the gig until 2017. But people in general identify 2016 with the victory of Donald Trump. So now I know I'm being conspiratorial here probably, but since 2016, so in other words, since Trump took office, crime is down, jobs are up, all because we slaughter people. It stands out to me. You know what else stands out to me in that? Now, I didn't see it this time. You did. So you might tell me I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it says something like, America is great.
It says something similar to that, yes.
This is... Mm-hmm. Now, what are they trying to do? I don't know. Probably nothing. Maybe they're just trying to make it timely. But one more thing about watching this, and I'm sure that many of you probably aren't interested. I'm not. Are you going to watch it?
I might watch.
Okay.
At least the pilot episode.
Yeah.
To just kind of get an idea.
Well, what the series does is it goes back and forth. The reason they can make it 10 episodes is because it starts with, the evening. It does flashbacks mm-hmm. to all the different characters and their lives leading up to it. And as they're deciding, am I going to kill this person on Purge night? Stuff like that. What are we going to do on Purge night? So very interesting. People premeditating stuff. And I just wanted to point out that unlike the movie, This credits 2016. It does say something along the lines of America is great again. And one more thing, and this is why I couldn't watch a show like this. I know it's fantasy. I know it's not real. Okay, I get it. It's like Hunger Games. It's like a violent Hunger Games. Or as you mentioned to me earlier, that story we both read in college.
Yeah, the lottery.
The lottery. Who wrote the lottery? It's driving me nuts. It wasn't Camus. It couldn't have been Albert Camus because he wrote The Plague. I can't remember who wrote the lottery, but anyway, they draw names once a year and then they stone somebody to death, whether they've done anything wrong or not. It was terrible. Who wrote it?
According to Google, Shirley Jackson.
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I just remember reading it and going, boing. Well, my eyes were. But anyway, this is the one thing, and I know I'm being extreme here. I know I'm being delirious and paranoid. But just understand, they say every crime is legal, even murder. So they're going to entertain you with a show about how everything is legal for one night, even murder. Let me suggest that all of us hate murder. All of us think murder is horrible and people should be punished for committing it. But what do we hate more than murder? What do we actually hate? Who do we hate more than murderers? What do you think?
Child molesters.
Everything's legal. How about cutting a baby out of a pregnant woman's belly? Everything's legal. Raping a baby. Why not? Everything's legal. So this premise, they stop at murder, but the premise is everything's legal. And that makes America great. And to that I say, so I personally won't be watching it. I'm not interested in it. I'm barely deciding if I'm going to watch the second season of The Sinner because I can just take so much dark television. But anyway, your thoughts? Am I being too hysterical here?
No.
I don't want to be like those people who said, play the record backwards and Satan's calling you to,
When I first saw the trailers for it, my first question was why?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, but then again, they've made 4 movies.
Right.
The newest movie that's either coming out or is out, basically goes back to the very first Purge.
So it's a money making franchise.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
And I think that what it is it's just they found a way to be able to make more money off the franchise. 10 episodes has become the new vogue and a lot of things.
I get it. I totally get it.
But
they don't say everything's legal, except they say everything's legal. They say 2016, and they say what a great country we have now. I'm not saying anything other. I don't even know what I'm saying. Other than something about this makes me say, are they trying to identify the right? Because it's been set up for so long that conservatives are violent. We're the violent ones. We're the ones who throw punches. We're the white supremacists, right? We're the ones who want to kill poor black people. We're the ones. And now there's a show about it. There's a movie about doing exactly that. Because this is about killing poor people, right?
I believe poor people are probably the number one
They're
targets.
prone because they can't defend themselves.
Right.
Therefore, unemployment goes down. So it's a fantasy. I get it. I'd love your comments on it, though. I really would.
I've just never been a big fan of crime being legal.
You mean in
any
fantasy?
In any fantasy.
There's
I wasn't a big fan of the Hunger Games.
I loved the books. Didn't love the movies. I thought the movies were a little flip. But I did enjoy the books because I thought they were a little bit deeper. The same with Divergent. I couldn't stand the movie. Was it called Divergent?
Divergent. I liked the first one.
Yeah, I couldn't stand the movies.
That was about it.
The first one was okay, but from that point on, it just became melodrama to me. The books I thought were good. I enjoyed reading them because I like reading children's stuff or teenage stuff. But there's a couple of TV shows that I found myself recently addicted to during the middle of the night because I can't sleep, and they are Law and Order, Special Victims Unit. I don't mind the regular Law and Order. I don't want to watch Criminal Intent. Why? Because last Sunday I watched Men in Black, and you just can't, who's that actor? You can't watch Criminal Intent and have that weird actor who's cocking his head and asking people questions without him going, where do you hide your dad? Roaches coming out of his mouth. I'm sorry. Who's that actor?
Vincent D'Onofrio? Is that who you're talking?
Yes. I don't think he made it long. I don't think Criminal Intent made it very long. He just had he was too quirky. He was too quirky.
That was part of the character.
I know. I didn't like it. It became formula. It became very formulaic. But anyway, but I like Law and Order. I've come to like NCIS. And then I started watching Chicago PD. And the thing about, have you ever watched an episode of Chicago PD?
No, I've had a lot of people tell me I should.
It must be an NBC product because they do crossovers with Law and Order. But they're the intelligence of the police department, and the head Copperini, the guy in charge, who's got this voice that he can't even barely talk. But he's a handsome feller. He commits acts of violence. He kills people. He takes money, from people. He uses the money to help victims. He just hands them cash, all that kind of stuff. And it's all on the down low. But I can't help when I watch it going, really? Are cops really like that? Granted, it's Chicago. But really, it's a little dark. So I don't know. So back to you, illegal being legal. I even have a hard time watching good guys. He's supposed to be the good guy, but I don't see how killing somebody makes you a good cop. Not if you do it on purpose. Yeah, but that's me. And he's always saying to his superiors, I'm going to do this my way.
I could recommend a couple of really good TV shows. I don't know if you've got some kids. They're made by the BBC.
I like BBC.
Orphan Black.
Orphan Black.
It's probably the best TV show on right now.
All right, I'll watch it.
And I just watched the first. I would say there's just the first episode you'll get hooked to. That's how I was.
Really, that's what happened to me with The Sinner. For Orphan Black, all right, is that something on Netflix or it's on BBC specifically?
It's on BBC. You could probably catch it on Prime, Amazon Prime.
I don't have Amazon Prime, and what's killing me about that is I really want to support John Krakowski as Jack Ryan.
Oh, John Krasinski.
I love him.
Okay, he's good.
I love him. And I think he's extremely talented. And as a writer, as a director, as a actor, and nothing but the stars for that guy.
Married to one of the most beautiful women on the planet.
Emily Blunt, who denounced her American citizenship. She did apologize later, but when Trump became president, she did denounce her American citizenship. So I struggle with her. But she is beautiful.
I can forgive her.
Yeah, she was really great in Sicario or whatever that was called. Yeah. She's a great actress. And I loved her in Devil Wears Prada. That's where I first got to know her. And you're right, she is absolutely beautiful. So So anyway, I want to watch Jack Ryan. I want to support John Krasinski.
You're close. We'll just keep it at that.
That's a great name. What do you think that is? German? Russian? It's not German.
I want to say Polish.
Well, that's what I immediately thought was Polish, which makes me drift off into Polish land. And all of the, remember how there was a time in America where Polak jokes were really funny?
No.
You don't?
Because I never found them funny.
Oh, okay. What I mean is, they were popular.
Yeah, they were popular.
Never occurred to me. They were like blonde jokes to me, because they were all the same. How many blondes to screw in a light bulb? How many union members screw in a light bulb? How many Polish people to screw in? But the truth is, they were slaughtered and dehumanized. Yeah, so I've kind of gotten over that. If I ever hear another Polish joke again, I probably won't.
I think what's funny is it's probably about maybe 50 years ago, his name wouldn't be Krasinski.
No. Smith?
They would have found something else for him to...
Smith? Did you call Smith? Yeah. My lineage is Anderson and Olsen. You don't get more Smith and Jones in Sweden. I couldn't go to Sweden and knock on doors and go, can you tell me where the Andersons live? You know what I mean? It'd be ridiculous. I guess I could find a pea soup Anderson.
Just look around.
And ask around, yeah.
Just look around, you'll hit one.
Yeah, exactly. Are you an Olsen? Are you an Anderson? Great. Family reunion. Anyway, so there we go. We got a minute left. What will we do in a minute? I just want to point out, and I did post this on my Facebook page if you're a follower on Facebook, and I'm going to do some more research on this tonight after I do some work and watch Orphan Black. But plastic straws have now been banned in San Francisco, as they were in Santa Barbara, only I don't think they've put a fine on it, or a breaking the law, if you give a straw to somebody. But now you have to ask for a straw, which is fine. We had a general rule in California during the droughts that you had to ask for water, and then they got over it and they just started bringing people water all the time. But I still ask for it if I don't get it. But I understand. So, okay, you have to ask for a straw. I think the law is stupid, but you have to ask for a straw. In San Francisco. Why? Because plastic straws are difficult to recycle. They end up going into the ocean. They end up confusing pelicans and seals who choke on them and die. And it's a terrible thing. Now, what's the other plastic item that is strewn about the streets in San Francisco?
Bags?
No. Something the government gives away for free.
Oh.
Are not hypodermic needles plastic?
That's right, they are.
Plus they've got drugs left in them. Plus they got a needle. There's no ban on those. We're still giving them away. In fact, they've got great programs. You get hundreds in a day if you're an addict and you prove it. Still giving those away. They're still strewn. So I'm wondering, are seagulls and seals and walruses and whatever wonderful sea life pelicans, are they actually able to distinguish? Ooh, a plastic straw. I'll eat and die at that hand. A hypodermic needle? Oh, no way. If I'm going to die, it's going to be with a straw. See, I'd rather die high, personally.
They probably get Hep C first.
They what?
Probably get hepatitis C.
Hepatitis C. So it just goes to show you, and there are people who will say, we don't need these, this is a ridiculous thing to fight for. No, I'm not fighting for plastic straws. There's a principle here. These people, they're not even insane, and they're not true believers. They exploit true believers to push policies that cost businesses money, that cost them business, and that limit your freedoms and liberties. And I know it's just a plastic straw, but that's not what it's about. It's about this. Do you feel it getting tighter and tighter and tighter? And meanwhile, they're handing, want a needle? Here. Do drugs? No, you don't do drugs? Here, take some needles anyway. So, I don't know. I would think that feces in the street going down the drains into the water system would be bad too, but what do I know?
Well, they got the new poop patrol who's going around and taking care of all that, so.
They do?
Yeah, they got a poop patrol that people actually go out and look for poop.
I was at Disneyland once at 3 o'clock in the morning. I started broadcasting at 3. Well, I started broadcasting at 6, but I was there at 3. We had to be back. We got to drive behind the scenes and all that. It was me and Doug DeRue. We had such a good time. And we snuck off to the Matterhorn. We snuck off to Toontown. And everything's dark. It was absolutely beautiful. And when they turned on the lights for Small World, for Christmas, because it was Christmas time. Oh my gosh, it was so incredibly beautiful. And there were people at 3 in the morning with the scoop, but they weren't scooping poop up crazy. Mm-hmm. They weren't. And they'd pull out the dead plant and put in the fresh flower. Did you know they do that kind of stuff? It's like what do you do in a play? You're the prop. No, you're the guys who do the set. You're the curtain closes and everybody goes and scrambles.
Yeah.
That's what they do at night at Disneyland, and they're painting rails that have been chipped, and it's really remarkable. Mm-hmm. But there's no poop involved that I know of. Mm-hmm. Not that I know of. San Francisco, Disneyland. San Francisco, Disneyland.
Yet they both hold a fantasy land.
And I have been with people who were high at Disneyland before too. That was the senior trip. You know, do they still do that? I was with the private Christian school kids. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That train will just keep going around and around and around. You just stay on that train all night. It'll just keep going around and around. You're laughing because you know what I'm talking about. I did not partake. I was young and innocent. All right, we'll let it go with that. We'll let it go with that. And tomorrow, hopefully, we'll be able to get TJ Esposito in. He was in Sacramento yesterday, fighting the good fight on bail reform. Not just because he's a bail bondsman, but because he is a bail bondsman. He understands the trouble that we're about to get ourselves into when we say, "Let there be no more bail." Well, then I don't have to show up to court. And it's a pretty big deal if the state of California does this. So we'll talk about that tomorrow with TJ, hopefully. Goose, thank you so much for laughing with me. The train just goes around. Ooh, dinosaurs! What was that thing that they closed down because I think somebody died in it, but it was a circle and you went around?
Oh God, I can't remember.
You can't remember?
Oh, I just think of the monorail.
I'm just thinking of the all aboard, the one right there when you first enter Disneyland. You hop on it, and it goes through where the dinosaurs are.
That's the train.
Yeah, it's awesome. No, I did not partake. And I wasn't having as much fun as everybody else was. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I so look forward to it. Thank you, Goose, for getting us through. Kids, I love your comments. You can always go to my Facebook page, make comments or send emails. I have an open page, so you don't have to be screened or anything to make a comment on my page, and I welcome you there. Inga K. Barks, and we'll see you tomorrow. I look forward to it. Have a good one. Bye.